Hey guys, thanks for tuning into the new episode. So this one is just going to be a quick one. I want to cover off on a couple of things that are actually pertinent to right now. First of which is something that's come out just today. There's a Unity Humble Bundle that's out now, and it is pretty damn good value. Didn't really want to be spruiking anything on this channel that you need to go pay for, other than the assets that or the add-ons that are involved with Unity. Invector's Quest game, the game that we're making, basically. But I did want to make a comment about this one here because it is extremely good value. As you can see here, it's got $1,600 worth of content, or just under 16, and you can pay $1 and you already get quite a bit for that $1. A couple of the games that are developed with Unity, that's all well and good. Yeah, always good to check out what some of the other people are doing and see that. But here we've got Inventory Pro, and we've also got Ultimate FPS and Flow Canvas. So for just $1, you get both of these assets. Now this asset here is $75 on its own. This one here is $65 as it's got listed here. Few things with these ones though is that both Inventory Pro has an updated version, which is Rucksack, and that's multiplayer enabled, and that's actually a separate asset. And there is a little bit of contention in the reviews there for it about needing to pay for those upgrades, things like that. But in itself, it is actually a decent inventory system. I don't know how well it works with Invector, but if you're making another project, it's quite worth it. And again, if you're only paying $1, then brilliant. And also UFPS, the same thing with that. I think they're upgrading to version 2, and I'm not sure whether it's going to be free or a paid upgrade. So just keep that in mind when you are getting it. But with these both, you can actually create something quite easy. And now you've also got Flow Canvas, which is the flow scripting for Unity. So that's like using your node editors and stuff like that. So a lot less, if you're not big into coding, this can be quite helpful for you. If we move down here, we've also got the average. You can unlock Wasteland 2, Final Station, Last Day of June. So a couple of independent made titles there, or I think that one might be a AAA if you really want to consider it that. But yeah, again, some good examples there of what can be done in Unity. But you also get here the Realistic Effects Pack 4, which is about $35, $40, and these are really cool effects. There was, I think the first one came when on the asset store, it came free last month or something. If you paid a certain amount to the asset store, they'd give you a copy of that for free. But you also got here the Ultimate Game Music Collection. So there's like a whole bunch of music that you're going to be able to use in your game. And again, that's about $50 worth there. You've also got GameFlow, the visual scripting and automation for Unity. So that's kind of the same as Flow Canvas, except it doesn't actually feature a node editor. It's actually just got objects that are scriptable and functions on the objects that you can put through. So it's another way of getting around having to know coding. Yeah, it's definitely worth a look there. I haven't actually heard of this one before until today. But as you can see, again, another $50. And then if you pay $15, you can unlock everything in the bundle, which also includes Torment, Tides of Numenera, which is, I think by itself is about $20 minimum. It's also available on the PS4 and a few other platforms too. Shadow Tactics is another good one. If you like the old Desperado-style games, this is pretty much that, but in a samurai setting, so feudal Japan. You've also got this here, Discover Unity Game Development from 0 to 12 Games. So this looks like it's an online course. Retails at $600, so getting it for $15 is pretty good, but it'll be a video course that'll take you through coding and stuff. So if you want to actually get into coding, especially with Unity, this is definitely something worth looking at. We've also got MMORPG. If you have a look at some of the videos on my channel, you might see that I've actually worked in this as well. I do quite like this system. It is quite good for off the bat getting an MMO up and running, as long as you know how to handle the server and set it up that way. You can pretty much, straight out of the box, you have a working demo, and then changing the character art and stuff like that, and it's actually quite simple too. I quite like that. But this is the big one here. This is the one that I really wanted it for, the Heroic Fantasy Creatures Full Pack Volume 1. This retails for $350. It's actually a mix of several different packages that are created by Protofactor. I've already had the Kobold one, and if you've seen some of my VR videos, you might have seen the Kobold. I've even used it in an Invector thing, just a third-person tech demo using Veggie Studio. The Kobold in it just looks fantastic. It's very highly detailed, and it's a really brilliant little model. And it goes, you can set it to humanoid, and it imports fine, and it works with Invector's AI. So really good pack. This one here, obviously, you can see there's 2 or 3 dragons. You've got a demon. You've got all sorts of monsters that come with it, and there's even undead skeletons. Can't really zoom in on this picture here, but there's an undead skeleton set that I was actually going to buy by itself for about $40 or $50. But I'm glad that it came in with this pack where I only had to pay $15, so that's brilliant. And you can mix and match the different armors that the skeletons wear, that sort of thing. There's also lizard men and all sorts of other monsters that are really fantastic if you're making an RPG, especially in the high def end. They are quite high poly count or high tri count, but yeah, I mean, you can always work with that if you know what you're doing. Then also you get the universal sound effects. So much like the music pack, you're going to get a whole bunch of sound effects. Like I think there's something like 5,000 different sound effects. So for any kind of game you're making, just good to have this as a database. Again, $15, and you're getting a database that will last you for, you know, any kind of game that you're making in the future, and that's fantastic. You also get Gaia too, which is quite good. I've used this one before. I usually use Terrain Composer too because I like having the multi-terrains, the giant terrains, but Gaia is good for doing single terrains really well and sculpting them and chugging on all the other stuff. And of course, if you've got the Humble monthly bundle, you get $2 in your wallet. So you've got this charity that they've got Child's Play and Girls Will Code. I like to give the money more towards the devs, especially in this instance. If you have a look, we can see total payments has almost been about $200,000. So there's been about 15,000 purchases already, with the average purchase at $11.15. And of course, as you can see here, some people have put in $150. Some people have paid large amounts. You can obviously always donate however much you need. But yeah, if you put in the devs that have made a lot of these products will actually get a lot more money back from what they put in. And if you can see things like UMO, RPG, Gaia, and a few of the other ones, it actually just helps support the developers that make these things to continue supporting their product. So yeah, give it a look. I definitely recommend grabbing a hold of this now while you can, purely for the music collection, the creatures, and the sound effects. Just having those as a database for $15 is great. Plus you get a few free games that you can have a look at and a couple of good template systems. So yeah, give that one a look. All right, back on to the actual RPG now. So as you can see, I've made a new map and I've put in a few things. I've been working quietly in the background. I've started blocking out my area. Well, I haven't really blocked it out. I've actually started building it. Using the techniques that I'm going to be using just for this one. You can see they're all turning black. That's actually just the billboarding for the vegetation itself. I'm not using Veggie Studio on this. I am just using the basic Unity terrain system for that, which is why it's got such a small draw distance and it's blacked out. But as you'll see when I load up the game, it's not too much of an issue because I've got fog and depth of field going on with some post-processing effects. So as you can see here, I've got a little town that I've made up. If we come along here, you can see I've made a little goblin camp. That's going to be one of our other areas. Then we come up here, we'll go over here first, and I've got this little graveyard filled with tombstones and crypts and a little thing there. And then I've also got the dungeon run that I've got up here. Now this one I've just sort of whipped up really quickly. I've had a little run through it, and it might be a bit too thin to have proper combat in, because basically when you swing your sword around you're going to be hitting the walls. And then I've got a little area that's more open here for the final boss fight that I've been planning. So if you can remember back from the game documents, I'm not going to bring it up now, but from the game documents I wanted basically two mob areas and then a dungeon. I think I might have even said 3 mob areas, but I'm just going to go with 2 for now. And then a village and the dungeon to run through for the final section, and then the quests pretty much progress from there. We'll come across here as well. I've actually got a location that I've put out here. I'm going to keep that a secret for now so that when you play the demo you can have a bit of fun. But let me just boot up the game and I'll show you. While I was making this, I've actually put in some of the quests, basically just copying the quests that we had that I've made in the previous one. So the discovery quest, actually, yeah, pretty much just the discovery quest. I haven't put in any of the combat stuff. In this episode, though, I am going to show you how to make a very quick melee fighting AI based on your own models. But for now, let's actually just play this and see if this pops up properly. And I'll just take you through because I've actually noticed, so as you can see here, the post-processing effects really changed the look of the landscape. Without the post-processing, it looked quite drab, and I was actually going to grab the Cinti Nature Pack before I went on with this episode, but I wanted to save a bit of money, so instead I just put on post-processing, and it looks fairly well so far. It looks a lot better than it did. So we come up here, we've got our person that we've got to find. Now he's telling me to travel to Salium. Mr. Helpy says you might find an answer for your troubles in Salium. Well, I haven't actually set up what my troubles are at the moment, but I'm going to do that as like the start of the game. That'll be one of the last things that we tackle when we look at the dialogue system. So we come along here and you can see that we've got a town. Yay, there's a person standing up on the roof. That's not actually an error, that is meant to be there, and I'll explain that one a little bit later. But right now I just want to show you guys an error that I've noticed. It was a bug, and I've passed it on to the developer, and he's actually already made a fix for it, so that should be releasing soon, and once that's out to the public I will show you how to update. If we come along here, so you can see that I already had that quest for finding the town. If I click on here, all of a sudden it says travel to Salium, which was the quest that I already had. However, in the description it's changed, and so is the icon, because the icon is actually representing the new quest that I've placed on this knight here. And if I accept it and we go back, you see rid Salium of the goblins. So it does know that there's a different quest, but for some reason it's just displaying the wrong name on the quest. And that was a UI bug that I've brought up with the developer, and again, yeah, he's already fixed it. It was a simple error in the coding, but yeah, he's uploading the new version now to the selfie store, so that's for the RPG add-on. So it's always good, yeah, if you find these bugs, definitely report them and they can get sorted out. And we'll go through them, and as you can see, if I click on this guy, there's this guy here gives you a secret quest, but I've just sort of given away the game of how to actually get up here. Didn't think about that. I was going to keep it as a special surprise, so you have to try and figure it out, but if you watch my series, then now you'll know how to get to the secret quest. So anyway, that's what I've got so far. That was a bug, again, with the UI and the way it reads out the quest, but that has all been fixed up. So now let's have a look at putting in some more fun and actually getting a melee fighter to fight against. So we've got a character here. I don't want to put in before I go get a sword. The sword I have to get from the shopkeeper in town, so I might put someone just outside this fence here. So what I'm going to do, it's actually quite easy to do this straight off the bat. I'm going to go to Invector, and I'm going to go AI controller, create new AI, and then it pops up a window that's now off screen. We're going to look at the character model. So we're going to get our character model that we want to use, and I'm just going to use a goblin. So I'm just going to type in goblin. I don't want it in the scene, I want it here. Character goblin male, the basic one. And now the animated controller, this one here is not going to be a shooting one, it's just going to be one that's going to attack with fists or with a sword. So we're going to choose the AI melee combat. Then we're going to go to the FSM behavior controller, and we are just going to choose FSM melee. So that's as easy it is. And then of course here, type of controller, it's got the melee, just choose that one. And then we click create. Now it's going to use it at the 0 transform, so we're going to grab this on, we're going to bring it over here. Another quick way of doing this too is just lining up where you want it to be and going Control Shift F, and as you can see it's going to move it to exactly where the camera was. Now it's a little bit rotated because of the way my camera was looking, so I'm just going to zero that out and put it down on the ground. And here you go, we've now got our fighting goblin. So if we have a look down here, we need to go to the melee controller, open up the detection menu, and we've got sight method, so we've got center and top, so that's fine for seeing our target, the medium. We don't need to change any of these real values here. You got 90-degree field of view, distance to detect 3, maximum 6, so if you go past 6 it won't find you. But now we've got detect nothing default. Okay, cool. When we scroll up, we've actually got tag enemy and layer enemy as well. So we can change those. If we're going to have factions, we need to put in different layers and different tags. Or we can probably keep the tag the same, but the layers will need to be changed so that you can set them up so they can combat each other. For now, it's actually just going to be player versus enemy. There's not going to be any real factions. So we need to go to our detect layer. We need to find basically what's this AI going to see and going to react to. Well, this one's just a basic AI, so it only really needs to fight back against the player. So we just need to detect the layer that the player is on, which happens to be named player, and the detect tag, we need it to find the player. So if we have a look here for player, it's up near the top. And then obstacles default, so I can't see through anything that's listed as default. So if it were to come up to this building here and I was standing on the other side, it wouldn't be able to see me. Even if I was within range, it wouldn't see me because the raycast is hitting the default object and stopping. So that's how that works. And you can click on this and this will show you a little bit about where it can see. So you've got your 90-degree field here of field of vision. You've got your 3 and 6 for the detect range. I think that's could be the minimum one there, and just a few of other things like from where it can hear, that sort of stuff. Now we're going to go to the melee manager, and we've got here who can you hit enemy. Well, we need to change that to player. You can leave it so it hits enemy and just change that to 2 and add player and enemy, so you've got goblins that can hit each other by accident, but we're not really going to do that for this one here. Not really what I need for my demo. We've got that, that's fine. So that's all set as it is. Now we want to test that out before we go further with that. We can leave the FSM behavior controller alone because it's already set up for the melee character. It's just the default melee. And let's just hit play. So I'm going to have to run up there. I should have actually moved my character a bit closer, but that's fine. No worries, Mr. Helpy. I don't need to talk to you because I don't need the quest. And we're just going to run into the town. And now we've got our bullet hole ears, okay. Alright, now I'm going to equip the sword because I like using the sword rather than the fists, because it makes it a lot easier. Now I haven't given this guy any waypoints, so he's a little bit sort of confused as to what to do. He's just going to stand there until he sees me, and now, okay. He hits pretty hard, so let's not get hit again. Oh, I think I'm going to die. Alright, let's tie on. No, I died. Great. So as you can see, a very dangerous goblins. Alright, well let's move our player a little bit closer now so we can actually do that again and start a bit better. Whoops. I'm just going to lift him up. So he's going to start here, and so our goblin was actually quite, not only quick to get away, I think, as with the other one that I had in the last game. So I'm just going to go start. No, I'm not going to disable the agent on start. Agent, no, mesh medium, waypoint, random starting point, random waypoint. So we're actually going to give him a little area to walk around just so that he is actually moving around. What I'm going to do here, just create an empty. I'm going to add the waypoint area. I'm going to enter edit mode. I'm going to click here. Area radius 2, time to stay 2, random patrol point, and then a second one here, do the same thing, random patrol, time to stay 2. So, yeah, pretty much he'll bounce between either of these two, and I'm just going to call it Goblin Patrol. Where is my goblin that I made? Here. I'm actually going to rename this as well. We're just going to go Gob level 1. And do we need to change anything else on it? No, the name will be fine. So we go Goblin level 1, we come down to the waypoint area, we drag our waypoint area onto there, and all these settings are fine except for self-starting point, because that just means he'll start from wherever he is in the system. Our health, we're going to knock down the max health to 50, so it's only going to take us a couple of swings. Movement, animator speed 1, walk speed, we're going to go 1, running speed 2, sprint speed 3, crouch speed 1, and the same with that 1, 2, 3, 1. We can use root motion, but we'll leave it off for now. Actually, no, you know what? I like using root motion, in which case we'll just set all of the values to 1. Alright, events, combat settings, attack distance, that's all fine, combat blocking, movement. We come down to the manager here, and we want to set the default info, which is the default damage. We want to drop that down to 5. Stamina cost that, yep. Cool, that's all we really need to do for that one there. So, just going to save my scene. And I'm going to click play. Now we're going to come to the store, I'm going to buy the sword. Not going to bother selling the goblin ear just yet. Maybe that's why he hurt me so much. He was very upset about my selling of the goblin ears. And as you can see, now our goblin's walking along the path. He can't see me just yet. Just going to sneak up behind him. Have at ye! And there we go. So that's our first goblin dead. And that's all we really want to do for that one there. We can obviously copy this one out and give it a few more things, and then later on when we're dealing with the assassinate quests, we'll be able to run that through how to update the quests with that on it, although I think we've already done that in the previous one, although that was a collect item. So yeah, we'll go over an assassinate quest in another video, but for now that's how easy it is to set up a melee AI. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next episode.